Hello everybody, welcome back. I'm here at Muse Paint Bar to teach you how to paint a very beautiful September autumn sky. We got some fun clouds, we have a little telephone wire, some birds, a sun. There's a lot going on, but it's very simple, great for beginners, so let's hop right into it. All of my materials are laid out here. I am working on an 8x10 canvas panel. My colors today are red, blue, yellow, black, white, and a color called fluorescent violet. If you do not have that one, you can mix up a little bit of purple with some red and blue paint. I have some mixing plates to mix up all my colors on so that my palette stays nice and fresh. I have a water vessel over here on top of some paper towels to wash off brushes. And I'm working with 3 different brushes today. I have a large brush, I have a medium brush, and I have a small pointy brush. All right, let's get started. So we're gonna mix up our 3 background colors first. So, I'm gonna go ahead and put all my brushes in the water to wake them up. And I'm gonna take out my big brush. First color is going to be a nice bright orange. So I'm gonna start off by taking a big scoop of yellow and a small touch of red. And I'm gonna mix those together. Now this is gonna go ahead and be painted on the bottom third of our canvas. So if you were to just eyeball about 3 sections of your painting, the bottom third is going to be painted in with this orange. Just work back and forth to get a nice, even, smooth coverage. Next color we're going to be mixing up is a nice kind of deep magenta. I'm going to start off by grabbing a little bit of white, a scoop of fluorescent violet, a little bit of red, and a little bit of blue. Small amount of blue. Now we're going to start doing some blending. So I'm going to paint some of this above my orange first. Then I'm going to slowly work down to meet that orange paint, come back up into the magenta, and I'll keep working back and forth until they blend together. And then I'm going to bring this paint up to the second third of the canvas. All right. Now to this color, I'm going to be adding a little bit of black and a little bit of red and a little bit of blue, just to darken it up. I'm going to throw that darker color right above it and blend down. Bring the color all the way to the top. And then we're going to darken up the top edge with some black paint. Just going to throw some black up at the top and blend it downwards. All right, so here is our background, all finished and completed. We are going to let that dry before we do anything else on top. Give yourself about 10 to 15 minutes. And then we'll come back together. All right, we're back. Next step, we are going to be putting in the highlights that are in the center of our painting, that are behind the sun. So I'm going to be taking my medium brush and we are going to be mixing up a lighter orange color. I'm going to grab a little bit of white, a scoop of yellow, and a very small touch of red. Now, right about where your magenta and your orange mix together, that's where we will start. We're just going to use the tip edge of our brush to get some thinner lines. And we're just going to work back and forth, like so. I'm going to make this a little darker. And as we work up our canvas, the lines are going to get shorter and shorter. And a little thinner as well. All right, looking good. Next, we're gonna put in our sun. 1 scoop of white, 1 scoop of yellow. And in the middle of this kind of orangey cloud thing we got going on here, I'm gonna draw a circle about the size of like a clementine or tangerine. It may blend a little bit with that paint we just put down, and that's okay. I'll give it a more orangey hue. And you may go back with a second layer later on if you need. So I'll probably definitely do a second layer here in a little bit once it's dry. Next step, I'm gonna mix up the color for my clouds. We have a nice kind of deep royal purple. I'm going to be taking a nice big scoop of my fluorescent violet and a touch of my blue. I'm also going to add a very small touch of white and black to just thicken up this paint. Purple tends to be a little bit of a thinner color. Now I'm going to start with all the clouds that are not overlapping my sun, just because I know that I want to do a second layer in there here in a little bit. So the general shape of clouds is fluffy tops, kind of like in a hill formation, and flat bottoms. So here on this edge, I have one that's kind of starting up high, and then it comes down lower and to a point at the end, and then it's flat along the bottom. So you can just fill in that cloud and make the edge on the bottom straight. I'm going to do the same thing to another cloud over here. Gonna get some smaller clouds up in the top of my sky. All right, now before I do the clouds on top of my sun, I'm going to add that second layer of yellow. Just so it's nice and bright. All right, I have a dry sun now. I can go back in with my purple, and I'm going to add a cloud sitting on top of my sun. I'm also going to do a second layer in these clouds just so they're really vibrant. And then lastly, I have a cloud that is not the shape of like the others. It kind of just goes across my canvas and along the bottom of my sun. I'm just going to kind of wiggle it under and then over top of the sun. It's going to gradually climb over here on the left. Just this ominous purple fog rolling in. Now, our clouds do need to be dry before we do anything else to our painting, so we're going to let that dry and come back together. All right, next step, we're going to be adding some highlights to the bottom of our clouds with some yellow paint. So I'm going to use my small brush in some white and yellow paint mixed together. And then On these bottom clouds, these are the only clouds that actually have highlight along the top edge because they're underneath of the sun. So I'm just going to work to add some highlights along these top edges. And the rest of these clouds, they have some highlights along the bottom edges. So this big cloud here, have this nice yellow stripe along the bottom. A couple kind of just on top of it. And in these other clouds, I have very thin lines, like little tiny stripes along these bottoms. All right, last thing is the birds and the telephone wire, and that is all going to be done with black paint with your small pointy brush. I'm going to start with the birds. The birds are simply letter V's. So we're just going to do 2 V shapes here on the left top area of our sun. 1 bird, 2 bird. Super simple, the easiest birds that you can paint. A telephone pole, we're first going to make like a cross shape. So I'm going to have a long line that starts above this long cloud here on the right side, about 1 or 2 inches away from the edge. Just going to draw a line straight down. And then I'm going to draw the T shape across in the middle of this long purple cloud. Then under these 2 corners, we're going to connect the corners with these little posts. And then here comes the really long telephone wires. So I'm going to start with this one in this corner, little wire there. I'm going to have 3 wires over here on the left. 1, 2, 3. Trying to use very light pressure on my brush. Don't press down too hard. Now I'm actually going to turn my canvas to do these wires since I feel like it's easier for me to drag downwards as opposed to from side to side. So my first is going to be right here and end in the middle of my purple cloud. My second's going to come from this beam here in the middle, come to the bottom of that purple cloud. And the third one's going to come down here on the post and come down to the bottom corner on the left. Once you have those lines in, you can go back and fix them up some. Now, of course, the last and final step is to sign your painting when you're all finished. I recommend using your small pointy brush in a color that will stand out nice and bright. And most people sign it in the bottom right-hand corner, but of course you can sign wherever you wish. And that is it. That is the last and final step to your painting. I had so much fun painting this lovely autumn September sky with you all, and I hope you enjoyed it too. We would love to see what you are painting at home. I'm sure all your friends and family members would be very impressed. So you can post it on social media. Just don't forget to tag us at Muse_paintbar so we can check them out. If you did enjoy this tutorial, make sure you come back again, like, subscribe to our channel. We have a ton of tutorials that we actually don't do in studio, so they're very exclusive to YouTube. But if you ever want to come in studio to hang out with us, make sure you go to musepaintbar.com, check out our locations, and find one near you. And again, thank you so much for joining me today. I had so much fun, and we'll see you again next time.